Well, a warm welcome to you. And again, thank you for joining me on my channel. And I pray that today's message will be a great blessing to you. And I'm still busy on the topic of blessings and God's blessing us. And also remember that I said at the start of this year that this is the year of God's blessings. So we are focusing on the different kinds of blessings as well. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but sometimes we hear people talking about and speaking about such things as the third day blessing. So today I want to take just a couple of minutes, don't be long, to just share with you what are these third day blessings that people are talking about, and also motivated to you from, of course, the foundation of Scripture. The whole concept of third day blessings refers actually to the teachings where the third day symbolizes a time of significant spiritual renewal, restoration, and abundance of blessings. And it draws its parallels to the resurrection of Jesus, of course, on the third day after his crucifixion, our resurrection, and it signifies new life and the overcoming of challenges. Furthermore, it represents a period of experiencing significant positive change and divine favor in one's life after a period of difficulty. Now, if you look at Isaiah 6 verse 2, it says, "After 2 days he will revive us, and on the third day he will raise us up, that we may live in his sight." Now, the number 3 often signifies completeness or perfection in the Bible. So the third day represents a time for us of full restoration and of renewal. Now, if we look at Ezra 6 verse 15, it says, "Now the temple was finished on the third day of the month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of King Darius." So if we look at this concept of third day blessings, what are the types of blessings that we can expect? So third day blessings can include such things as spiritual revival, healing, the restoration of relationships, the provision for our needs, increased favor, and a deeper connection with God. So the first concept that I want us to focus on is transformation. Now, John 2 verse 1 says that on the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And then if we continue in that whole chapter, we know it's all about the wedding of Cana. And Jim, just looking at verse 9 and 10, it says, "When the master of the feast has tasted the water that was made wine, and did not know where it came from, but the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom, and he said to him, 'Every man at the beginning sets out the good wine, and when the guests have well drunk, then the inferior. You have kept the good wine until now.'" So what is it that we see taking place here? We see that water was transformed into wine. So we see this principle of transformation. So water was changed into wine. Knowing the process, we know that wine takes many years to mature. And this actually is a picture and a sign of instant maturity and instant transformation. So that is one of the blessings that we can experience in the third day, is transformation, and that it is a quick process that takes place in our lives, and we experience that blessing of God. The second blessing that I want to present to you is that of holiness. If we look at Exodus 19, verse 10 to 11, it says, Then the Lord said to Moses, Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and let them be ready for the third day. And then look at what it says in the last part of verse 11. It says, For on the third day the Lord will come down upon Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. So we see again the concept of the third day. And then if we continue a little bit further in Exodus chapter 19, and we look at verse 16 and 17, it says, Then it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunderings and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain, and the sound of the trumpet was very loud, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. So we see also when we look at this third day process, we see that it's a period of practical sanctification and a time of purification of the church, which is also the blessing that God brings to us in bringing us to a place through a quick transformation to a place of holiness. Remember, holiness is a separation unto God. And then the third blessing that we see is we see third day blessings brings us to a place of intimacy with God. Now, if we look at Isaiah 6, verse 1 to 3, it says, Come and let us return to the Lord, for he has torn, but he will heal us. He has stricken, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will raise us up, that we may live in his sight. Let us know, let us pursue the knowledge of the Lord. His going forth is established in the morning, as the morning, and he will come to us like the rain, like the latter and the former rain to the earth. Now, if we look at this, it says in verse 2, On the third day, he will raise us up that we may live in his sight. Now, third day blessing here is the manifestation of where we actually are living in his manifest presence. So it's being brought about through intimacy with God. And then, of course, the fourth blessing that I want to present to you is that of the resurrection. If we look at Luke 9, verse 22 to 24, it says, The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised the third day. Then he said to them all, If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. So what do we see here? We see here that the dead church will come to life. If you look through the ages, we see that many tried to kill the church with cares, with riches, and with pleasures. Many others have tried to bury the church. We see that the church has been imprisoned in the world. She was the dry bones in the valley. So when we look at the third day, we see that the third day, when it comes to the church, is a season of resurrection, of reconstruction, and of restoration. And we see that the church is going to come to a place where she misses the flesh pots of the world, and we see the church comes to a place of breaking through. And then the last blessing that I want to present to you is that of divine favor. If we look at the book of Esther, and we all know the whole story of Esther, chapter 5, verse 1 to 3, it says, Now it happened on the third day, again the third day, that Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, across from the king's house, while the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house, facing the entrance of the house. So it was, when the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, that she found favor in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. Then Esther went near and touched the top of the scepter, and the king said to her, "What do you wish, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be given to you up to half the kingdom." Now, what is very significant of this, we see here what I want to call an Esther position. It is a position where Esther found so much favor on the third day when she stood in the inner court of the king's palace, that he basically said to her, "Ask what you will." And when we come to this place where God releases his third day blessings upon us, when we have humbled ourselves to this place and purified ourselves, that we can basically come to the Lord and ask what is in our hearts, what we want to have. And, I want to be very honest with you. Don't take this now and revert back to the Pentecostal season of name it and claim it. It's a place where you operate from that place and that position of intimacy with the Lord, and where in your mind and God's heart and your heart and God's mind is so aligned that you can actually, whatever you ask of him is his will and is his desire as well. And therefore you see the manifestation of God's divine blessing coming upon your life. Well, I hope this brings some form of clarity to you on what is this third day blessings that people are talking about, and that you will also position yourself in your walk with God to come to that place where you yourself can experience these third day blessings upon your heart and upon your life. Now, God bless you. May you have a wonderful day. It was not a long session today, but I pray that it will bring some clarity to you, and that this will also be a blessing unto you and to your family. Great grace to you until we meet again next time. God bless, and may you have a wonderful day in the presence of the Lord and experience his blessing upon you.